Alright folks, good morning and como estas? Welcome to the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. I'm your host JReal, bringing you another edition. We are actually really excited because we're pushing that 100th episode. I believe we're 2 away. Now, as of the new year, we started filming just once a week. That's on Fridays, that's right. Now, up until that time, we were doing 2 shows a week. That's on Tuesdays and Fridays. We left it up to you out there in YouTube land and with the rest of the crew to let us know what you think. Is 1 show a week enough, or are we missing out on more topics, more crucial information to get out there to our fan and followers? You let us know. We've been getting a lot of calls, we get a lot of feedback on that, but right now as it sits, we're still sitting at 1 show a week. That's on Friday, when the shows actually release. So with that said, we have a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, and of course the big news was the Super Bowl that took place last Sunday. Now, we could easily get up here and start bashing Peyton Manning and the Broncos, but we can't do that. We have to be fair, we have to be real to the story and to the people. Now, prior to the Super Bowl, the Friday show before, we had mentioned that we were rooting for and felt Seattle could win. That was by jamming the receivers at the line of scrimmage and making Peyton Manning move around in the pocket, not get comfortable. And I have to say, without tooting my own horn, that's exactly what happened. The defense for the Seattle Seahawks was phenomenal. They had Peyton Manning dancing around. I mean, he felt so uncomfortable the whole game, from the beginning, middle to the end, and they were playing very aggressively with the receivers, again jamming them right there at the line of scrimmage and not giving them any room to breathe. That defense was suffocating on all aspects, whether it was for Peyton Manning or for their tight ends, receivers, running backs, whatever. They just totally dominated that game. Now, with that said, a big issue we had here at the Average Joe Sports Talk Show, especially for myself, was the fact that I never had an issue with Peyton Manning. I felt he's always been a good quarterback. I've always felt he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. The problem that we had, and myself, JReal, was the fact that when you start throwing in, he's the best of all times. He's the best of all times. It is hard. And I don't know, folks, leave me your comments, feedback, call in, whatever it takes. I need to know, am I being unfair to Peyton or not? Again, a couple of shows prior, I gave a breakdown on why I felt he was not. And just a really quick recap of that is, there's no way on God's green earth you can tell me that 1 Super Bowl out of 3 now would be able to be in the same conversation as guys that have 4 Super Bowls. Now, I also get this a lot. Well, JReal, it's unfair that you compare Super Bowls as the way of saying who's the greatest. But when it comes down to quarterbacks, I think that is the way you look at it. Quarterbacks have the ball 80% of the time in their hands. The quarterbacks are the generals of the team. They lead their teams for the most part. So when you look at a quarterback, the way you're going to judge them, I feel, and in my opinion, again, leave me comments and feedback if I'm wrong, is off their wins. And we're not talking about wins during regular season. Yes, it's easy to say Peyton Manning is one of the greatest of all times during the regular season. It's not what we're talking about, folks. They are comparing him and saying that he is the greatest quarterback of all times. He has a losing record in the playoffs. We've already discussed that. He had phenomenal teams from Indianapolis to now the Broncos. Do you realize how many weapons Peyton Manning had? I mean, the receivers, the tight ends, the running backs, how deep they were. This team had no reason to lay an egg the way they did, even with a suffocating defense. This is the issue. Peyton Manning does not want to get hit. He can't afford to get hit, and he could be seriously injured if he gets hit. So that's why he was dumping those 2 and 3 and 5 yard passes. And I don't care if he broke a record, those were garbage passes. He could have completed 45 out of 50 for all I care. I think he completed 35, 36 for 44, broke a Super Bowl record, but folks, those were junk passes. 2 and 3 yards, and then boom, they were getting lit up at the line of scrimmage, maybe again a yard or two in getting up the field. It was ridiculous. He was so jittered, he was so confused, and he was so rattled. The guy could barely throw a few passes down the field past 10 yards because he was petrified of being lit up by their defense. And who could blame the guy? He's had 3, maybe more neck surgeries. The guy is being held together by freaking duct tape. He's pushing 40 years old, and yes, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. The guy has done stuff that most quarterbacks couldn't even imagine, which is, 1, being the offensive coordinator as well as the quarterback at the same time. But folks, this is the problem. When you are focused on so many other things and being a true quarterback, I think this is what happens. He's so involved with the offense. He's so involved. I mean, did you see the guy? He would throw a pick. If it wasn't a pick 6, he would throw a pick, and then they showed him on the cameras, and he's sitting on the sidelines reading all of the stuff, reading the papers, reading manuals, reading photographs, looking at photographs and all this. He's not even gelling with the team. You know, come on guys, we'll get that one back, or come on guys, we can get back in this game. No, he sat by himself, totally alienated from the whole team. I don't think Peyton understands, if you want to be a quarterback, be a quarterback. Leave the coaching to the coaches so you can focus on your plays and on your team. Gel, acclimate together. No, Peyton Manning's sitting by himself. All his other guys are sitting as a team. Peyton, I think, puts himself in a position, and it's his own doing. Peyton Manning wants the team ran through him. Peyton Manning wants everything to be done through him. And unfortunately, just as you saw in this game, he cannot win these games alone. If you take Peyton Manning out of that game, which they did, what do you get stuck with, Denver? Nothing. And that's exactly what happened. I hate to say the words embarrassing, but I honestly, folks, I don't see how you can look at it any other way. Peyton Manning himself was frustrated and upset when a reporter asked him to give a detail of the embarrassing performance that they did, and Peyton Manning blew up, just blew up. Oh, don't you ever say it was embarrassing, we're professionals, we put in 110%, a lot of work, blah, 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 blah. But Peyton, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. They basically gave you pity points of 8. Think about it, folks. They had locked them down for 2 quarters. Going into the 3rd quarter, they hadn't done anything. No first downs, no points, hadn't moved the ball barely. Then what they do, Seattle lightened up the defense, backed up the secondary, opened up the middle of that field between the linebackers and the secondary. Boom, there goes Peyton Manning doing his 10 and 12 yarders, and they score 8 points. What does the defense do after that? Boom, they lock them up again. Nothing for the rest of the game. Folks, they could have shut this team out. And they should have shut this team out. But I feel because of Peyton Manning, they didn't totally want to embarrass them. But there's no other way to put it, folks. It was embarrassing. Peyton Manning can get upset all he wants. He can cry about it all he wants. That was one of, if not the worst performances in any kind of football game professionally I've ever seen. It was really close. And yes, you've got to give props to Seattle and their defense. But come on, folks, this was the #1 offense. #1 offense, and they can only scrape up 8 points? Freaking Peyton Manning can only have a 27% passer rating? Folks, all I can say is, do I think Peyton Manning's legacy is impacted by this game? I'm going to have to say absolutely. If you recall, prior to the game, so many experts, so many radio hosts and radio personnel were going on the limb and putting their careers and their words out there saying if Peyton Manning wins this game, he will cement himself as the best quarterback of all times. He will cement it if he wins this game. So how can you put so much on the game if he wins, and then the way that he lost this game not take away from the man? He played like he was a varsity high school quarterback going against NFL team. There's no other way to put it. The guy did not only not perform, but he so underperformed. He did not lead his team into battle and put up a good fight. They tucked their tails and basically got whooped like dog pound dogs. And don't start calling me saying that I'm saying it's okay to whoop dogs. I'm not. But they got beat down like if they were junkyard dog pound dogs. And there's nothing they can say or do about it. I think it did take away from his legacy. There's no way on God's green earth I would put Peyton Manning in the top 5 of best quarterbacks of all time. But I don't dislike the guy. He's been doing this since college, folks. He's been doing this since college. People want to say, oh, you can't take away from his legacy for one game. Folks, it's been laid out. It's been mapped out since college. The guy cannot win the big games. Yes, he won a Super Bowl against the worst quarterback rating team in the history of the NFL. Chicago Bears, their quarterback had a 7% quarterback rating. Guess who's after that? Peyton Manning. So luckily, the Indianapolis Colts went up against one of the worst Super Bowl teams in history in the Chicago Bears when they faced them and was able to get a Super Bowl. Otherwise, the guy might not even have one Super Bowl. It's just amazing. But we're not Peyton Manning haters. We're just realists here. JReal's going to be real with you all and say he's a great quarterback, but he's definitely not in the top list of the top players of all time. He just doesn't have the resume, the skins, the trophies, the plaques, the rings, whatever you want to call it, on the wall to put him in that list. So, moving on from that, give us your comments and feedback. Tell us what you think. We do feel bad for the guy to see him go down like that, but my gosh, it has to put things into reality how he is so far from the best quarterback of all time. No other quarterback that I could think of. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees in this generation, not to mention the best of all times, Montana, Bradshaw, Namath, Marino, John Elway. No, I could not imagine any other quarterback in the history laying an egg the way he did in that Super Bowl. Just can't see it. So, comments and feedback, we'd love to hear from you all. Now, moving on a little bit more with the show, we're still going to talk a little bit of football, but we have to thank our sponsors, new and old. First and foremost, the Player Zone. Hook us up with all the cool stuff. Hook us up with the house. Giving us a place to come and do the show for you all. Give you our cuts, our takes, our ideas in the sports world. We can't wait and hope to hear from all of you out there. Can't say enough about the Player Zone. We also have Right On Time Air and Delivery Service. Been with us since the beginning. And then, of course, some of our newer sponsors. Freestyle Jewelry. Again, serious gold at not the serious gold prices. Got bracelets. You know, they hook us up with all kinds of cool stuff for the show. Folks, if you're interested in getting with them, you can get through them through the Player Zone as well. Again, 575-257-0559. Player Zone. Again, comic books, sports cards, memorabilia, you name it, they got it. And the Freestyle Jewelry, good partnership with them. If you want to get into contact, Player Zone. Then we also have Freestyle Productions. They do all your filming needs. If you want a DVD of a wedding, birthday, quinceañera, bar mitzvah, you name it, they can film it. Again, great prices for a lot of fun. If you want something to have on memory forever on a DVD, they'll knock it out for you like that. Make it real fun for you and your family. And again, costs so little, because again, they just want to see happy smiles on people's faces and be able to enjoy those memories. We also got to thank Seeping Springs RV Park and Campground. When it's not 20 degrees outside here in Ruidoso, New Mexico, they are going to welcome you and your family, friends, relatives, you name it. You can go out there, ride paddle boats, you can fish. They offer and supply all your needs for fishing out there for a low cost. Amazing place, again, right here in Ruidoso, Seeping Springs RV Park and Campground, located out on Highway 70 in the Downs. Can't miss it. Look for the Big Fish sign off the highway there. And then we also got to thank some new members to the crew. Now, not everyone gets involved right away, and that's fine, but we still want to give a shout out to all of our family. We got Gonzo, again, Gonzo jerseys. Guys, just phenomenal. Could hook you up with any of your jersey needs, sporting good gear. Just hit him up at 575-808-0892. Again, as for the jersey guy, Gonzo jerseys, official, stitched. You can't go wrong with his jerseys. $50 if you let him know you heard about him through the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. So, as I was getting to, we got to give a shout out to our crew guys. We got JV Money out in Phoenix. We got O-Dog right here in Mescalero, New Mexico, and just so many more. But we got some new ones we want to say and give a shout out to. And we have to say, Benjamin Bricko, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. He is a soccer guy. We're excited to be in contact with him and be, him joining our crew. We're going to hope he'll come on soon and give us some soccer information. If we can coax the guy and tempt him to give us a call in here on the show. Look forward to dealing with him. And you can reach him also at Bricko24 if you want to reach him on Twitter. Seems like a phenomenal guy. We just barely got hooked up with him. Excited that he's part of the crew. And then Michelle Sports X. You can reach her at SportsXMichelle on Twitter. Again, these are new members to the crew. And then we got Mark Green Bay Herb. I don't know if it's Street or Herb ST, whatever that is. And you can contact him at, or join him, follow him on Twitter at BullGBPackers. These are all, again, new members to the crew. We hope to hear from them soon. And then we got two last final ones. We got Sport Rants. Contact them at sports_rants. And then Keith Fox. You can reach him on Twitter at KeithFox54. Again, these are all Twitter names you can follow, get information. Seem like a lot of cool, nice people. We're so happy to have them as followers. We just broke our 10th Twitter follower. We're fairly new to Twitter. I'm just learning how to do it myself. As a matter of fact, Michelle X Sports, if you happen to be catching the show this week, I would love to send you a link. I'm learning. I'm trying to figure it out. Might need your help on that, though, because we're so new to Twitter that I don't even know how to send someone a direct Twitter. You know what I mean? It's difficult. Hey, O-Dog, have you ever Twittered? You know, when you're like trying to send like a new I have to go through, that's O-Dog, our producer back here. I have to go through a message to send a new message, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the original message, because I don't know. Right, O-Dog? I have no idea how to just put a new message to somebody. So Twitter, we're working on it. Michelle Exports, I am going to try to work on getting you that link so you can come on and just click on that link as you did for me. I clicked on your link, checked it out, it was really cool. So anyway, thank you all very much. JReal appreciates all the followers and our crew. Again, you all are welcome to come give us feedback, give us your ideas on your cuts, or if you have a topic yourself that you would like to talk about on the show, that's what we created this bad boy for, just for that stuff. If something's bugging you, give me a call, say, hey, JReal, this is on my nerves, this is on my mind, I have to talk about it, I need feedback about it, got to get it off my chest. Hit us up, we'll be sure we get you on, alright? Okay, so moving on from that, we have to talk a little bit about Richard Sherman. This morning I was listening to, again, all my sports radio shows I do every day. And some of these guys are just amazing to me. They actually want to think or feel that Richard Sherman hurt his pocketbook or hurt his career by doing what he did in his little rant or tirade, whatever you want to call it, on after the championship game. And I have to say that's BS, folks. Me and Michelle X, Sports X, we were tweeting about this all morning. The guy was, I didn't know who was, did you all know who Richard Sherman was before that? I'd have to say maybe a handful of people, you know, out of 100%, 30% of the people in the nation knew who Richard Sherman was. No, I should have known, because the Player Zone has all the sports cards and memorabilia, so I'm sure they got all his sports cards lined up in here. But I had never heard of the guy. Then all of a sudden he does his rant and rave, and then the media just blows up and takes off with this guy's a dirtbag, a scum, a thug, da-da-da-da-da, on and on. And guess what, folks? Now the guy's a household name. Now every time you hear Richard Sherman, the guy's doing commercials, he's doing, do you think he would have been doing all this without that tirade? There's no way he would have been doing this. There's no way we would know who Richard Sherman was if it wasn't for this tirade. So, as me and Sports Michelle X were talking about this morning, the guy's a genius. He marketed himself. So what? Some people got upset. So what? He ruffled some feathers. The guy just marketed himself like a genius. Commercials, endorsement deals. For heaven's sakes, I wouldn't be surprised if the guy isn't on Saturday Night Live in the next couple of months doing some kind of mock joke about his little tirade. It's amazing. The guy did what he needed to do to put his name out there and create revenue. He's not losing money, he's generating money. If any of you out there think Richard Sherman got hurt by this, let me know. Please leave feedback, comment, call us, whatever it takes, if you truly believe. And if you agree with me and Michelle Sports X, let us know too. Did he do this better, do better to himself or for himself by doing this tirade? I don't know. I have no problem with what he did. The guy just got done at the heat of battles we talked about a few weeks ago. He just got done making a game-saving play. He had a problem with Crabtree, and then they throw a mic in his face 5 minutes after the game's over and expect him not to blow up. Anyway, we have no problem with what he said. The man is a beast. He's a phenomenal defensive back, and he's a Super Bowl champion. So, with that said, again, leave your comments, feedback about Richard Sherman. Let us know what you think. And then we're going to go ahead and go into our wrap-up segment, which is in the NBA news. Folks, the NBA is just blowing up. You have teams coming from either nowhere or that have been good since the beginning that are still freaking good. Indiana, are you kidding me? How are you going to go sign Bynum? The guy is a cancer. The guy is like an infectious sore. Everywhere he goes, he cries like a baby. He infects the locker room with doubt and negativity. But yet the Indiana Pacers are going to pick this guy up. I don't care how big and bad Larry Bird is. I don't think he's going to change this guy into anything but what he is. He's a freaking self-prima donna. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. And he's not a professional. He doesn't care about being the best basketball player he can be. It's just ridiculous. But Indiana's still going to be Indiana. Miami just won their game last night. So, you know, Miami's who they're going to be. But again, I think it's going to be very tough for Miami to win another championship this year. Because you got OKC knocking on the door. You got the Clippers doing what they got to do. San Antonio's always going to be there. But again, we feel they're too old to truly knock down the door anymore. But there's so many good teams. And it's just going to be hard. Now you got the Lakers, who have all their superstars are hurt. As a matter of fact, they went in the game last night with, I believe, 8 players dressed up. And by the time the game got over, they had to actually leave the 5th player that fouled out of a game, or fouled out of the game. They had to leave him in where then, for every time that he had a penalty after being left in the game, it was a technical foul. And the Lakers still win. Just tells you the mess that the Cleveland Cavaliers are in. And that's just pretty bad because Cleveland has some good players. I wish LeBron would have stuck it out because now look who they have on that team. They got their point guard lined up. They got a couple other good players. If they would have had LeBron, which he couldn't stick it out and be a man like Jordan and Bird and Magic and all the other greats have done. So Cleveland Cavaliers are in a big mess, and they're probably not going to get their superstar back in Irving. He's probably not going to want to re-sign with them. And it's sad because they could have had a great team if LeBron would have stuck it out a few more years. So, excuse me. With that said, folks, we were expecting some calls, but that's okay. Not everyone can just join the crew and think, oh, okay, I'm going to get all buddy-buddy, and that's fine. Watch the show, see me, see who I am, see what I'm about, and you'll see this is a family-oriented show. It's meant for you all, the ones. I could talk all day, but that's not what I'm here for. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear your stories, your situations, your ideas of the sports world, and let me just comment on them with you and share it with you. But for right now, I got to do what I got to do, so I'm going to be talking the whole show. So anyway, folks, last thing, and then I'm going to let you get out of here for the weekend. We have to say thank you, Player Zone, for bringing the pre-release. Last Friday night, 12. That's right, 12. No, that's 7. 12 tournament players showed up for the pre-release of Born of the Gods. For any of you that do not know what that is a card game, a fantasy card game called Magic the Gathering, which is a huge, phenomenal success right now in the United States. It's been out for about 20 years, and it's still growing, still going strong. Anyway, new set release. We had a huge tournament here, amazing players, and we have to say kudos to Mike, who won the tournament, the pre-release tournament. Mike Harris, a local right here in Ruidoso, New Mexico. Big ups to you. You built a great deck with very limited cards, which is what everyone had to work with. But again, Mike Harris, kudos to you. And this Friday at the Player Zone, 2117 Sudrith, Ruidoso, New Mexico. If you're interested, you can come right on into the Player Zone because the release tournament is going down for Born of the Gods, which means it's draft day. For all you nerds, geeks, and players out there, you know what that means. So come join the draft here at the Player Zone. Again, 2117 Sudrith in Ruidoso, New Mexico, or you can contact the Player Zone at 575-257-0559 and say, hey, give me information about the release, give me information about whatever, sports cards, comic books, Star Wars figures, autographs, you name it, Player Zone. And don't forget all the other sponsors. And please, folks, if you're interested, you can write. Get involved with our No Bully Zone campaign. That's right, the Why Bully Be a Friend campaign. Let's stop the bullying in our schools. Our kids are killing themselves and hurting themselves over something so ridiculous as bullying. We're putting up the fight. JReal, with the Average Joe, Player Zone, all of our sponsors getting involved. I mean, everyone's getting involved. You can write to us at P.O. Box 1942, Capitan, New Mexico, 88316. Just jot right on there, the Average Joe Sports Talk Show. Tell us your story, give us your feedback. We don't have to mention your name on air on the show, but we would love to hear from you. Or if you just want to get involved and get your own sticker, the No Bully Zone sticker, write to us. We'll send you one for free. Put it in your car, your home window, your business window. Let people know you're taking a stand against bullying. No more kids should be lost to this stupid epidemic that's sweeping the world, actually. So, with that, folks, and there's no money involved, please don't send any checks. We're not that kind of business, place, show. We're just here to help the kids in any way we can. So if you want to get involved again, you can write to us, tell us your story, or ask for a sticker. We'll be happy to send it to you. But for right now, folks, that's it. JReal's going to sign out. We appreciate you all. We appreciate you, the new crew. Again, don't be shy. You can call us, contact us anytime, day or night, because we're here for you. Right now, JReal's going to say peace and much love. We will see you on next Friday's show. Have a great weekend. God bless everybody.